Good morning, everybody. How are you today? I'm going to try and make this video fast because it's really busy today. And every minute I stay off my Uber is a ride I miss. However, I have to make this video response because I posed a question to people last night. Do you believe that Christians are worshiping the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob? And the reason I posed this question is because of a few reasons, actually. I had, every year around this time, I get incredibly grieved at all the pagan bashing that goes on and the belittling and all the fights that go on regarding Christmas and stuff like that. And it's almost become like the worst part of being a Messianic. It really has. I just hate to see all the contention and strife that comes from it. People don't listen to you. If you try and tell them anything about it, they don't listen to you. They won't stop. They just continue to do it. And it's one thing to know something, but it's another thing to impose your views on other people. And so this year, I really started to look at what was happening with this and question, why is this happening? Why is there so much contention regarding Christmas? The reality is, if we're walking in truth, we should be able to walk in truth and not worry about whether or not everybody else is going with us. That is my own personal opinion. Some people are not there yet, and I get that. But that's my own personal opinion. But it started to dawn on me. I'm like, I just never see this coming from the Jewish community. I never see this coming from Jews. Jews, they don't care what you celebrate. They are relatively quiet on the whole matter. If you ask them point blank, obviously they have an opinion. But it is not a common thing that you would see Jewish people out there berating Christians for celebrating Christmas. So this question started me on this whole journey. Why don't you see that? Well, my husband says it's because Jews don't evangelize. I don't personally agree with that. I think that Jews do evangelize, but I think they do it in a different way. I think they lead by example. And if you want to come along, great. Otherwise, they don't care. So I think it's just a different approach to evangelizing. I was eating granola. I got a piece stuck in my throat. Of course, this stuff's going to kill me. I'm trying to eat healthy, and I'm going to die from it, I swear. So anyways, so this really started me digging. Why don't we see this, and what's going on? And then, so in my searching for this, I came across a video where this guy was going around in Israel, and he was asking people, what does Jesus mean to you? How does he fit into your thinking? And one of the things that they kept saying is Jesus is the God of the Christians. And I really started wondering about that. I was like, we know from the commandments that it says, thou shalt have no gods before me. We also know from the Tanakh that God told the Israelites not to inquire how others worship their gods. Maybe this was why we don't see Jews concerned with what Christians do. So, in taking this question to a Jewish person, I found their answers rather interesting. But anyway, basically, from what I gathered from watching this video and talking to this person who's Jewish, Jews do not believe, I'm talking about Orthodox Jews, and I'm not going to speak to all of them. I'm going to speak from the examples that I had. Because if you're Jewish and you feel a different way, please, feel free to comment on this video. I don't like to make blanket statements. I'm just telling you what I had uncovered through the examples that I had and the conversation that I had. These people do not believe that Christians are worshiping the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. They believe, first off, because they don't keep the Torah. Secondly, because they say that the Torah doesn't even matter. So it goes beyond not keeping it. It doesn't matter. And thirdly, because they worship Jesus and not Yahweh. And I thought that was very interesting. The reason I posted the question on so many different groups and on my own personal Facebook was that I really wanted people to think about this question and ask themselves if they believe that a random Christian is actually worshiping Yahweh. Or are they worshiping a Yahweh they've created in their minds based on what they're comfortable with? Are they worshiping Jesus over Yahweh? You know, now a lot of us know that Jesus is Yahweh and they are one and all of this, but things can be elevated above another. Okay, so obviously Christians elevate grace over Torah. Are they also elevating Jesus or this idea of Jesus over the true God of the Bible? So this is why I posed the question. It's very interesting and very thought-provoking to think about these things. You know, a lot of times we get stuck in a bubble and everything becomes us-centric, okay? Self-centric. This is what I believe, this is what I think, this is what I care about, and everybody else has to think, care, and believe what I believe. We have a tendency to become that way even when we don't mean to. And so this whole thing, the reason I asked if you believe that Christians worship the God of Israel, because if you don't believe that they're worshiping the God of Israel, if you believe that they've elevated Jesus over truth, then you have to ask yourself, why do I care what these people are celebrating? Why do I care if they're celebrating Christmas? Why do I care? Because you can't ask somebody who doesn't know the one true God to abandon what they do know as truth just because you said so. And so this is a tug of war that I see happen every year around this time at Christmas time. Is it a fruitless, is it a vain journey that you're on by trying to convince others what you believe? Or do you just simply think of yourself as sharing your knowledge? I don't think there's a problem with sharing your knowledge. I think the problem ensues when people start fighting over what you believe, or when you start fighting over what they believe. I think that, you ever hear the expression truth bombs? I think they need to work just like that. I think that we need to come along and drop these little bombs of truth and just walk away, instead of hanging around and trying to make our point, because I think it's a really fine line that we cross when somebody comes back and says, well, that's not what it means to me. And now it excels to a new level where you're just like, well, it doesn't matter what it means to you. It matters what it means to God. And we take the natural progression of the conversation. Now, I think that these are very fruitful conversations to have face-to-face, one-on-one. And that is one of the reasons why when people start to go really deep in the comment sections on my videos from now on, I am like, you know what? I'm not going to sit here for days texting you, having this conversation. If you really want to talk about this, let's pick up a phone, let's Skype, let's message, let's FaceTime, let's do something where I can see you and you can see me, and let's have an actual conversation. I think that when we sit there and we argue about things in text message, first off, we come off very aggressive, very hostile. And secondly, the conversation never ends with two people agreeing. The conversation never ends with me saying, well, I don't agree with them, but I definitely sense that this person loves God. We don't show people that we love God by how much we know. We show people that we love God how the passion in our voice, the words that we choose, how we convey our message face to face. It is very hard to evangelize through text messaging. Sometimes we come off as very aggressive and hostile, and as we're attacking people. So basically, the bottom line is this, and I understand why Jews don't care what we worship or what Christians worship anymore, because they are told not to inquire how others worship their gods. So when they see you keeping Christmas, you're keeping Christmas in honor of another god, in their opinion. And it goes beyond a pagan god. They see Jesus Christ as another god. They don't see him as a rabbi or a prophet, because Christianity has elevated Jesus Christ to God. So that's how they're looking at it. So if we believe that Christians are not walking in truth and that they're lost and all of these other things, and that they're celebrating pagan holidays, I mean, really think about this. When you look at this from a Jewish perspective, think about this, okay? You're worshiping, I'm not talking to Messianics here. I'm talking to Christians. You're worshiping Jesus. You're worshiping, and you're not even worshiping Jesus. That's the worst part about it. You're not even following Jesus. You're following Paul. And that was something one of the other guys said in this video, is like, Jesus is the God of Christianity. He started Christianity. And he said, but actually it was Paul who started Christianity in the name of Jesus. So I mean, this goes so much deeper than just our Peshat level of understanding here. This goes very deep, and it runs very deep with the Jewish people. They do not consider Jesus Christ a deity. So when you're worshiping Jesus Christ, in their view, you are worshiping a false god, and they don't worry about what you're doing because they were told not to inquire of what you do. So if we're following in this suit, if we have come out of the Christians and now we have adopted truth. Now, granted, I know that there's tons of people who are sitting in churches today who are a work in progress, that God is working on them. But there are equally, if not more, who are just sitting there, who just worship Jesus. They keep the wrong Sabbath, they keep the wrong feast days, they keep the wrong holy days, you name it. Everything that they do is counterfeit. So, I ask you again, are Christians who are perfectly happy with Christianity and the status quo, are they worshiping the God of Isaac, Abraham, and Jacob? Are they worshiping the one true living God? Or are they worshiping Jesus Christ, or who Christianity has made Jesus Christ out to be? So that was my whole purpose in asking the question. I think that it should drastically change your approach on evangelism. Honestly, we're not called to worry about what the pagans are doing. That's not our place. And I love you guys for sharing truth and everything. I just would really like to encourage you to try to stay away from the insistence that you're right, because it means nothing to them, and you will eventually lose your brother, because it's not about who's right or wrong. It's really not. It's about whose heart is going to hear the message. When I put these videos out there, I don't send these videos to my Christian friends. I just don't. I don't share my videos with my Christian friends. And the reason I don't do that is because I've already shared the message with them. Whether or not they're going to heed the call is between them and God. But I'm not going to beat a dead horse. And every time I make a message like this, I'm going to send it to all my Christian friends so that they know that I know something different and I'm apparently right about everything. I just won't do it. My message is for those who have eyes to see and ears to hear. That's the only people my message is for. If a Christian comes across my message and it makes them question, wonder, or inquire, fantastic. But you guys, we are not going to save everybody. And we have no power within ourselves to save one individual. God knows his people. He will call them by name. And just because somebody is not on the path that you are on at this moment does not mean that they are not on a journey. We are all on a journey, our own journey with God. He has us all exactly. I mean, sweet, this is the perfect example of what faith is all about. Wherever we are in our walk, we are called to have faith that Yahweh will deliver his people. He will deliver his remnant, and it has nothing to do with you. Now, that doesn't mean that you keep your mouth shut and you don't, that people don't know what you believe. I think it's very important that people know what you believe, but not to the point where you're coming off as I'm right and you're wrong, because that's not what's going to win your brother. Okay? And you know what? I can hear the comments already. I don't care if you think I'm lukewarm. I don't care if you think I'm too soft. I don't care what you think. I know, and I have never been more confident in where I am spiritually with Yahweh right now than I ever have been in my life. So what you think is irrelevant to me. Okay, I'm going to share my message. If it's for you, great. If it's not, I love you anyway. Anyways, I gotta go make me some money. It's preparation day. I gotta get home in a few hours and start getting ready. I hope you all have a wonderful Sabbath, and I hope you're all having a wonderful Hanukkah if you choose to celebrate. And I love you all, and I will talk to you next time.